Welcome back now. As we promised you, big guest this weekend with, of course, the SuperSport United CEOs, Dan Matthews and Stan. Firstly, many will ask and wonder, maybe and have wondered over the years, what does a football CEO really do? What's your day-to-day dealings in as far as being CEO of a football club?
My main job is to fight with my head coach.
I can imagine, yeah.
But like any business, I think the CEO has to preside over the entire business. So for me, obviously, it starts with the first team, making sure that the first team's healthy, that we preserve our PSL status, we're in a good position, both on and off the field. So that means working with the head coach, the technical team, the sports science and medical department in terms of the functioning of the first team to optimum levels, and then building on that around the team, sponsorship, the commercial side of the football club, the finances, the human resources, the administration, and then, you know, drilling down deeper into the youth academy, our soccer schools. So there's the football pipeline pathway, and then there's the business pathway in terms of the commercial. And I've got a good team around me, so I think that's also the job of the CEO, make sure you've got a good team around me. And the majority of my staff have been with me between 15 and 23 years. So we're a close-knit family, and we kind of function well as a team.
What you guys have done well over the years is add as to one of the, what I call it, is the big four in South African football, and I've called it for a long time, maybe over the last 20 years, and that's Sundowns, SuperSport in Pretoria, Kaizer Chiefs, Pirates here in Johannesburg. So you guys have added in that regard, but is that still the business model for SuperSport? Are you still looking to win the league and compete with those clubs?
I think what's changed over the last few years, and I said it very vocally when COVID came, that the rift between the big three and the rest was going to, well, for me, big three, you have to have respect. We're young as a football club. We became SuperSport United in 1997. In our short time, we've won 12 major trophies. So, of course, we're very proud of it. We hold the record amongst all PSL clubs, 24 consecutive top 8 finishes, which I'm very proud of, because when I joined the club back in 99-2000, we were in relegation with 8 games to go in the relegation zone. So the first job and most important priority for me was to make sure that we never get into that situation again, and we preserve the PSL franchise status. And we've been able to do that, add trophies, but we're still a young club. So for Chiefs, Pirates and Sundowns, they're much more established clubs. They've got huge following, and they've got massive, financial backing behind them. So that's not really realistic for us to look, and now, especially post-COVID, and say we can go toe-to-toe with certainly Sundowns and Pirates over the past couple of years have shown in the league that they are the two leading teams on the field of play. But for me, there's no disgrace in being in the top 4. You look in the English Premier League, a team like Tottenham Hotspur, I was there when they won their last trophy, when they were our partners in 2008. So 16 years they haven't won a trophy, but they're the 9th richest and biggest clubs in the world.
And they add a lot of value as well.
They add value, they've got a good fan base. So there's a lot of things to build on. What I don't want to ever disregard is our capacity to win trophies. Because we've won 12 trophies. 3 of them were league titles, 9 of them have been cups. We've been in another 9 cup finals, in addition to the 9 that we've won, including a Confed Cup final. So we've certainly got capacity as a club to have short bursts and a run, and a cup run. So for me, in terms of the business model changing, it will never change. I would never want to be in football without wanting to win stuff. But to be realistic and go toe-to-toe with Chiefs, Pirates, certainly Sundowns and Pirates in the league at the moment, we don't have that depth now.
You guys have had plenty of depth and capacity to firstly groom players from a development point of view, and also introduce them to the top flight of South African football stars. They're interested in very many others that one can think of over the years. Big question now, is SuperSport more of a selling club? Some are beginning to think maybe that's possibly the case.
We've always been a selling club. if you really go back through the years, certainly in my 25 years at the club, I know that what I've bought and sold, and we've always been a club that's been prepared to move on players. Possibly, even if you look at our 3 league championship winning teams from 2008 to 2010, those 3 championships that we made, there was also a fairly high turnover with players. I think with Gavin, there's always going to be a high turnover with players. Sure. That's been his record as a coach. Yeah. We were slightly less busy in the transfer market under Caetano. Stuart Baxter was also a kind of a high turnover coach. So, for us as a club, first of all, for any football club, to hold on to people for long periods of time is not easy anymore. Players get their clearances after a certain amount of time. You lose them on a free contract. It's not a wise thing to do. I lost TT to Chiefs on a free transfer. I couldn't replace him because I didn't have any funds. So our strategy has always been to let go of players either when they're coming towards the end of their contract and they're signaling that they're not going to renew, or when we see that we can cash in and then reinvest and start again. And that is the job of a football club. You start every single season on 0 points. Doesn't matter what happened last year. It's what's going to happen this year that counts. So each year you have to refresh and you have to spruce up. It's about getting the balance right in the transfer market. And I think, given our 24 top 8 finishes, that kind of consistency and stability hasn't been shown not by any club in South Africa, including Chiefs, Pirates and Sundowns. So, for me, I back my board and my chairman who have guided me and behind me and supported me in the transfer market with the 7 coaches that I've worked with at SuperSport. I've won trophies with 6 of the 7 coaches that we've worked with. So, that's a testimony to my staff and the rest of the infrastructure in the club that says it doesn't matter really who the head coach is, we have the capacity to deliver. But we haven't won a trophy now since 2019. And believe me, I remind Gavin every week.
I'm sure you do as the CEO. Let's quickly talk about your ambitions for the upcoming season.
Look, I want to win a trophy this year. There's a lot of talk in the market about our team and how young we are, et cetera. But if you look at a potential starting lineup, let's say against Pirates on the weekend, Goss in goals as a Bafana keeper, Mobbie as a Bafana right back, Slatswayo as a former Bafana centre back, Sanoka as one of the most experienced central defending campaigners, Lala K won titles with Sundowns as a left back, and Glover and Margaman, 2 of the best central midfield players in the country, Lungu, Zambian international right wing, Bradley Grobler, all-time record goal scorer in my club and 4th on the PSL all-time ranking, Jukumanja, Zimbabwe international, and Vincent Pule, left wing. Now, of those 11 players, Lungu and Grobler is what Gavin found when he came back here. So the other 9 players have been brought in as senior, experienced players, specifically handpicked by Gavin to be in the team. So from a CEO perspective, I feel we've given a lot of strength there. Where we're lacking is the depth, because when one of the senior players is out for an extended period of time, we don't really have the depth to carry on. We now start to turn to much younger players. We've been turning to DDC players, which in 2 ways is unfair. Unfair to the team and the coach, because he's not getting the same level, but also unfair to the youngsters to put pressure on them at an early age of their career. So what we're really going to try and do this season is A, win a trophy, but B, introduce 4 or 5 new players between the ages of 24 and 28, so that structure within the club, we'll have the youngsters, we'll have a few in a nice middle category who can either stay at the club for 3-4 years or have resale value that I can reinvest later, because I can't reinvest in the 11 players that I just mentioned now. I can maybe sell Margaman.
Yeah.
The other 10 are unsellable.
Sure.
So for me, it's very important as the CEO to look after the long-term health of the club as well. To sell a player like Chandra Campbell or Tapela Maseko, it's not what we want to do. I would have loved for them to have stayed with me for 4 or 5 years. But without a 5-year contract, those kids are going to leave me within 3 years. and I'm not going to be able to reinvest. So what we've been able to do now is give Gavin a base of 11 senior, 12 senior players that he really can trust and rely on. And then this sprinkling of good youngsters, which now he has to elevate their status so that they either become regulars or good sale opportunities. Now, he did that fantastically well with Maseko in the first year. He gave him the game time that gave us the space to sell him. Last year, he gave Chandre Campbell nearly 1,900 minutes as an 18-year-old in the season. So for us, if we can get our youngsters to 1,000 minutes and more, picking up experience, by the time they get to 23, 24, and they've got 4,000 or 5,000 PSL minutes under their belt, then they're sellable or they're keepable. So that's going to be the strategy this year. Win a trophy and kind of recalibrate the squad into a better age bracket.
I'll tell you what, you just took me on a trip down memory lane. Back in the day, for any youngsters watching, PROs used to be able to sell a game and tell you about their players and their stars right through the starting 11. And I've never heard a CEO just name straight 11 players the way you have. Love your commitment to the club. I'd like to congratulate you for the work over the years and wish you luck again for the upcoming season. And thank you so much for your time, Stan.
Thank you very much.
Well, let's take the time, with time having run out here for this week's show, to thank you at home, not forgetting to thank James Kosana as well as Shane McGregor, including Stan Matthews for his very insightful time here on Game On. So from myself, Susan Mapena, and the rest of the team that is behind the scenes, is click, click, bang.